Kuala Lumpur, a city in Malaysia that was built in the middle of a jungle. With the highest twin towers in the world. The multiculturalism is a part of everyday life here. The average age of inhabitants is 27.4. The old town and the new town. The heart of the former rural-urban core beats next to the skyscrapers. Kuala Lumpur, a city that never sleeps. Fresh, pulsating life, 24 hours a day. Xian Li and her father, KC, are going along to another urban sketchers meeting today. They meet in the old part of Kuala Lumpur, Kampung Baru. Around a dozen very different city residents have come to sketch, or in other words, put the city on paper.
We call ourselves urban sketchers. It's a community who focus on on-location painting, on-location sketching. Of course, we have our manifesto. Our manifesto basically is about sketching in on-location, sharing and telling stories about the places, the city and the town that we are living in. For us, we are a regional chapters based in Kuala Lumpur. We have our own cultures and our own lifestyle, so this is what we are doing.
With their drawings, the urban sketchers capture their city just as it is. The sketchers of Kuala Lumpur, who are mainly young, have a particular vantage point.
What is so special about Kuala Lumpur urban sketchers? I think Kuala Lumpur is a very special city. We have multicultural, we have multiracial, and then Kuala Lumpur used to be a British colonial area, and then we have Malay, Chinese and Indians cultural buildings. That's why sketching in Kuala Lumpur is like sketching in a special area.
The contrast between the village and the city is what makes Kuala Lumpur's charm, for all sketchers, young and old.
Today we come to Kampung Baru. We want to draw the old Malay traditional village. I choose this angle because it portrays the angle of the building itself. But at the same time, there is KL Tower behind, and then there is different diversity you can see from the urban city and the urban village.
The group is open to all. The most important thing is a love of drawing. It is the starting point for people both new to the city and those who always lived there. Malays, Chinese, Indians, they are all at home in Kuala Lumpur. Everybody draws what they want, in color, ink or pencil. Casey Lee gladly gives advice. He is the founder of the group. When he went into retirement 3 years ago, he searched for a hobby. He eventually founded the Urban Sketchers in Kuala Lumpur.
Me and my wife staying at home for nothing to do. I rather come out and do some things with the community. And the other point is, I look at the children and the youngsters. They are too addicted to the IT and staying at home for 18 hours, 20 hours a day. So thinking of leading them out to doing some activities outdoor. and having a proper lifestyle.
Kuala Lumpur is a metropolis of contrasts. That's what makes it so special. The urban sketchers are proud of their home city. That is why they draw it. What is the first thing that springs to mind about Kuala Lumpur?
This town is quite fattening actually. Too many nice food around. Feeling, well, I think we feel happy, right?
Yeah, we feel happy in this town. Yeah. There's diversity of food in this village. Yeah.
Lots of things to explore.
Importantly, at the end of the sketching session, Xian uploads a special photo to Facebook, ensuring all of the drawings are commemorated. Everybody sees different things in the city. The drawings therefore showcase completely different perspectives. Through this picture, the urban sketchers share the beauty of Kuala Lumpur and their work with the world. Kuala Lumpur in Malay means muddy river mouth. What a name for a capital city. The river can no longer be seen today. The place was founded by miners in the 19th century in the middle of the jungle. The village soon developed into a city. Then the city became a metropolis, and the metropolis ultimately turned into the capital of Malaysia. Skyscrapers have only been built here in the last 20 to 30 years. City planners took great care to maintain the special green character. However, all green areas here are artificially created. There is practically nothing left of the jungle vegetation. Kuala Lumpur is a modern megacity today, with the highest skyscrapers in the world and green oases in the middle of the business quarter. No coastline, no riverside promenades, but plenty of water springs from fountains. Eight million inhabitants live in the metropolitan region, with 1.6 million in the immediate centre. Kuala Lumpur stands for business and leisure, steel, glass, concrete, but also the green urban jungle. The only place where original vegetation is still cultivated on a large scale is the Kuala Lumpur Bird Park. 3,000 domestic and non-domestic birds, comprising of 200 different species, live here. It lies in the city centre, covering a space of 8 hectares. The park has the world's largest free-fly zone for birds. Dr. Kartini Ahmad works here as a vet in this part of the original jungle. She grew up close to Kuala Lumpur and studied here. The native birds in particular, such as the hornbill, are close to the 35-year-old's heart, but preserving nature is the priority.
Even though the Kuala Lumpur is a big major city, but we try to preserve the part of this area as a nature, because it's not balance. Let's say if it is a lot of development, but there's a less nature environment inside the Kuala Lumpur, so it does not balance for the ecosystem. So by having nature jungle-looking area, it helps to preserve the wildlife animal.
Her working day lasts 9 hours, and she walks for more than 2 kilometers in total from mission to mission.
My job is to treat the bird and then to look out for the health of the birds, okay, whether they are in a good condition, okay, and then I have to make sure that they have a proper feed that been given to the birds, and then if there is any birds that are sick or injured, okay, inside the park, whether it's in the free flight area or inside the cage, so I will take it the bird and then to treat it immediately.
Dr. Ahmad knows best how to deal with the birds. This bird is the only male of its species in the park. He must be particularly well maintained. Sometimes he lets the team inspect him, other times not. Today they were lucky and could treat him.
This is a water bird, so I must make sure that the mouth part area, must be in the perfect condition so that it's easy for the birds to eat the fish.
In Kuala Lumpur, the temperature is usually around 35 degrees throughout the year, with a tropical humidity of 70 to 80%. In the bird park, it is even more extreme.
The most stressful weather for the birds is hot season compared to the rainy season because of high temperature. So I will provide them with the multivitamin, okay, and then for this free flight area, I will inform the maintenance staff to reduce the cutting of the trees, okay, so that there will be a lot more shades, so that the birds can have shades area, okay, just to cool down themselves.
Dr. Ahmad sees many birds sporadically every day, and she gives names to some of them. The nightly active owls are collected for her during their daily sleep, because she also has to treat them. A few drops of medicine for long-term health. To be a vet here is a dream job for Dr. Ahmad.
Saya berasa gembira dan teruja bekerja sebagai profesion veterina di Kuala Lumpur Bird Park serta dalam satu kawasan bandar Kuala Lumpur, di mana Kuala Lumpur Bird Park ini masih mengekalkan lagi keadaan alam semula jadinya di samping dengan sekitar Kuala Lumpur yang masih membangun sebagai sebuah bandar yang berjaya.
KL, as Kuala Lumpur is known by its inhabitants, was under British rule until the end of the 19th century. Many British colonial buildings still shape the city landscape today. Many cultures and religions are represented in this pulsating million-strong metropolis. Arabic living is barely recognizable from the architecture at first sight, even though the state religion is Islam. A third of inhabitants are Buddhists. Not only do they live in the Chinese Quarter, but they are spread throughout the entire city in all social classes. Chinese Malaysians are well integrated and practice their religion without any problems. The Indian quarter is similarly assimilated. "9% of Kuala Lumpur's inhabitants are Hindus, and they also enjoy their own Indian culture and pray in their own temples. Even a handful of Christians have their own churches and pray without disturbance, whilst the muezzin calls nearby. Muslims are the biggest demographic group in KL. Almost half of Kuala Lumpur's inhabitants are Muslim. Most of them practice a moderate form of Islam. Live and let live seems to be the motto of the city. Abdul Wahab Shemaruddin can recount some stories of the last 50 years. He was born into a family business and has taken on sandal making from his father. The old trade is still flourishing.
Keistimewaan dia, capal ni sebenarnya bukan apa. Ini tradisional Melayu, orang Malaysia punya. Yang kita buat material ni, pasal ni kita daripada kulit. Yang ni kita buat kulit-kulit. Lepas tu yang selesa benda ni adalah dia punya tali muka. Ni sebut tali muka ya. Tali muka ni, ini membuat selesa capal. Jadi bila orang memberikan capal, dia tahu ini dia mesti selesa pakai.
Assalamualaikum.
Salam.
Private customers come to his shop now and then, but his main trade is producing large quantities for bulk purchases.
Dia macam-macam. Ada warna ni pun ada. Tak apalah, jangan.
Boleh katakan dia tak tahu nak raya.
His sandals are worn especially by men to go with their traditional garments, but they also go quite nicely with jeans.
Okey, boleh.
Okey, saya jual
Okey, terima kasih. Okey, Assalamualaikum.
Salam. Bye.
He can only have the support of one other employee. Every single sandal is handmade from start to finish.
Jadi ini apa dia punya bena ni ke apa ni? Ini adalah tradisional. Ini sebenarnya daripada arwah orang tua saya. Dia membuat benda ni daripada tahun 1974. Okey. Daripada tahun 74 dia membuat benda ni. Inilah membesarkan kita orang anak beranak daripada ini. Daripada capal ni. Jadi daripada situ saya berminat. Bila balik pada sekolah, datang ke kedai, tolong orang tua saya membuat capal. Ya. Siapa? Ni filem nak jual ni.
Today, he is a renowned craftsman. He can still live well from the trade and support his family. In Kuala Lumpur, small retailers have been able to survive to some extent despite the immense technical and industrial developments of the city. Abdul usually makes 200 pairs of sandals in 1 month. This month, however, he has to produce 400. A company from Singapore has ordered in bulk.
Kita tak ada masalah pun dalam pasaran atau di Malaysia ni, dalam pasaran tak jadi masalah. Jadi benda ni orang kata dah pakaian orang Malaysia. Jadi tak masalah lah. Masalah tentang ekonomi, tentang jualan, tentang apa tak jadi masalah pun. Daripada tahun 74 sampai sekarang, tahun 2017, memang banyak pembangunan. Dan ekonomi naik. Maknanya segala-galanya sudah perubahan, dah ada perubahan. Jadi orang kata kalau orang datang tahun 74 datang kemari ke Malaysia, bila datang sekarang ni, wow, ya.
He still talks about the old Kuala Lumpur. New buildings are constantly being erected here today. Higher, more modern, more spectacular. The old and new city, Kampung Baru village, and the impressive skyline of the business quarter behind it. Here, in the old part which emerged during the 1940s and 1960s, life is traditionally Muslim. The urban village has been spared from the developments of industrialization. Kampung Baru has made a name for itself as the foodie village. Whilst prices have skyrocketed just 300 meters further away, the food here is extremely affordable for everyone. Everyone is looking for small niches in what is perhaps the westernmost city in Asia. Finding a good job is not easy for young Malaysians. Too many young people live here, so it is simpler to open a snack bar. People are always eating. Barely any city residents cook regularly at home. Here in Kampung Baru, a lavish lunch costs between $1 and $2. Even Abdul, the sandal distributor, goes to a restaurant each day. Eating is traditionally done with one's hands. Reza Shafiq had a different idea about how to earn his living by cooking. He started his own food truck business 2 years ago. Since then, he has had a clearly structured day. Food is prepared at home in the morning, so it can be sold from the food truck somewhere in the city the same evening.
Dah jadi trend, so dah banyak lah dekat sini yang ada. Jadi nak try benda yang baru, dan saya memang dalam bidang food business, jadi nak cuba berniaga sendiri. Macam tu. Jadi food truck ni sesuatu yang seronok. Dia fun.
Previously, his dream was to get a foothold in the film industry and run a catering business. When this project failed, he began a new one. So day after day, he drives to different places with his food truck.
Truck ni, dia sesuatu yang tak perlukan tempat untuk berniaga. Dia tak statik, jadi kita orang boleh bergerak pusing-pusing, cari tempat lain. Kalau macam satu tempat tu tak boleh nak berniaga, pergi tempat lain, try nasib dekat sana. Macam tu lah.
Today, he has a long journey ahead. He wants to go to the other side of town. Therefore, he has to go through the business quarter, Kuala Lumpur City Centre, KLCC. He simply drives past the imposing Petronas towers on the left-hand side. In the evening, the city comes alive again in many areas. It does not get any quieter. On the contrary, it gets louder and fuller. The temperatures decrease a little, the sun goes down, and the more beautiful side of the city appears. At this time, Reza is already at the night market in order to buy the latest provisions. In the meantime, his staff prepares the food truck. The night markets on the outskirts are very convenient, and Reza doesn't need too much. Every day he goes shopping for fresh ingredients, even if he doesn't really cook lavish food in his food truck. He knows what young people want because he's only 25 and is already his own boss.
Untuk orang-orang muda, diorang suka benda yang cepat, yang laju, yang senang untuk digigit. Untuk makan macam tu je. Dan diorang tak perlukan meja atau sudu garpu untuk makan. Jadi dia memerlukan, contoh kalau macam kebab, so dia terus bite, terus makan, terus gigit. Sambil berjalan pun tak apa. Macam tu. Benda yang simple.
Food truck owners mostly choose places where they can congregate. They do not feel competition. Rather, they rely on attracting as many young people as possible for the evening. Reza does too. Now the exciting part of his night shift is beginning. He tells his customers exactly what they are getting. Mostly it is Malays, in other words Muslim Malaysians who buy here. The food is halal. It is without pork, and everything is made in accordance with Muslim law. Of course, there is no alcohol.
Hingga dalam 10 minit macam tu. Dekat Malaysia, orang Islam ni, dorang chill ni, lepak, dorang hang out dengan kawan-kawan, borak, catch up dengan kawan-kawan, sembang, macam itulah. Makan sekali, minum sekali. Walaupun kita orang tak minum alkohol, orang Muslim memang tak minum alkohol, tapi kita orang suka duduk sekali, lepak sekali. Macam tu.
More and more people arrive this evening. For young Malaysians, this is a place where they can meet and make new friends. There is a great variety of food. The big seller from Reza's food truck, pulled beef, packed as a kind of hot dog or beef burger.
Sebab kalau buat makanan Melayu, dia jadi banyak, leceh, panjang masa. Jadi kita guna yang simple. Western food is simple. Jadi kita cuba masukkan dalam makanan kita orang lah. Jadi macam sandwich, dan kita ada pulled beef. Itu memang American style lah.
Reza will not become rich with his food truck. However, he can survive from it, and he prefers to work later hours. Kuala Lumpur has its own special charm at night. In particular, the Petronas Towers, the highest twin towers in the world, magically illuminating and beguiling everyone under their spell. In another place in the city, the Bukit Bintang district, the atmosphere is in full swing. These people are also Muslims, but have adapted their faith to modern life. According to them, anyone can practice it. Kuala Lumpur is an open, tolerant, cosmopolitan city. It is full of people and vehicles. A distinct club scene has even established itself in this largely Muslim city. Cocktails and other alcoholic drinks are served here. Partying, drinking and dancing all take place here. New friendships are forged here. Nowhere else in Malaysia is as open. In the morning, this jungle metropolis goes about its business again as normal. Just like for Nuri, a man who is a woman today. Nuri was born a boy after 5 brothers. Her parents soon dressed her in girls' clothing. She grew up as a girl. In Kuala Lumpur, there are many transgender people like her. This is not a problem.
Everybody treat me as what I am. And I feel when I am now, so I just do what I like to do, and I'm proud to be myself, because I have work and I have family who love me, and that's it.
Nuri had an operation in her mid-20s in Bangkok because it was impossible in Kuala Lumpur. Today she is 48 years old and is a successful makeup artist for film productions. She's on the way to her next job. Nuri is also a Muslim woman, but wants nothing to do with the headscarf.
Oh, I stay in Kuala Lumpur. I lahir di Kuala Lumpur and I work also in Kuala Lumpur. So I suka dengan kerja I. And manusia dalam di Kuala Lumpur ni terima saya seadanya.
Her life as a transgender person is compatible with her faith, even though she would officially prefer to remain vague about it.
Kalau dalam Islam, of course, dia mungkin. Tapi sekarang saya, Islam also bagi tahu supaya saya menjadi diri saya dan ingat agama itu penting dan kita kerja dan untuk family dan kasih sayang itu semua.
Today, the film set is in quite a normal residential area of Kuala Lumpur. A Malaysian docu-soap is being filmed here. With her colleague, who is also transgender, she takes care of styling for the actors. The soap is about a young couple, their marriage, and their in-laws. The actors enjoy a large degree of fame in Malaysia.
Kita nak suruh membaik dengan Mami.
Berbaik-baik tu dialog dia.
Tengok Mama.
Kawan aku sekarang. Sabar aku bagi energi bang.
Kau masuk.
Leha. Kamu Leha.
Lepas tu kau masuk. Bang.
Aku kat sini ke?
I love to be a makeup artist. I love my work because I love to make people beautiful. And before I make people beautiful, I have to be beautiful.
The beautiful world of films. Nuri is a part of it. The makeup must always be reapplied between individual scenes. She's working with Elizad for the first time. Both of them love the business, the many trips, and being together.
We shoot everywhere in Malaysia, not only Kuala Lumpur, everywhere.
So, untuk cari makan dalam industri Malaysia, bagi saya ya, of course, sebab Malaysia sangat Malaysia hidup dalam keadaan yang harmoni dan bermacam-macam pekerjaan. Jadi untuk bekerja seperti dia yang sangat dekat dengan kita orang, of course kita orang rasa macam appreciate dia. Yeah.
Tengah ni nak
Time for action. From now on, Nuri always remains there, behind the camera.
Nak try buka bonik ni dulu.
The director's last instructions.
Action. Baby tak payah lagi. Tunggu mami sejuk. Dia ingat mati, dia baik, bertaubat. Saya balik.
Tengok balik. Aduh. Baby ni tak larat.
Okey. Ya, aku ada masalah dengan blok.
Only a few young Malaysians make it in the film business.
Film business in Kuala Lumpur is quite tough, to be honest. Maybe because of the competitors, because of the market, because of the economy as well. People are seldom go to movie now. The reason why? Because they can easily get entertainment from the internet, from the TV. So the industry is, I'm not say not good, but it's not that very well.
For Nuri, the year is cut and dried. 120 days of the docu-soap will be filmed here during the coming weeks and months.
Tunggu mami sejuk dulu. Lepas tu mami dah ingat mati, dah ingat dunia, dah baik. Dia balik
Whilst the others take centre stage, she patiently waits to be called. Kuala Lumpur became the capital of Malaysia in 1957. Globalization has seldom been felt so strongly and quickly in an Asian city as it has here. Since the 1990s, the people have felt a powerful new beginning, and the city seems to be calling to them. Find your way. Whether traditional or modern, everything is possible in Kuala Lumpur. Women study and work, and they climb high on the career ladder like men do. In addition to this, they all practice their faith. Siti Hajar is a special kind of career woman. It was only a year ago when she started to run her batik painting business. However, the 37-year-old now sells her batik headscarves all over the world, especially on the internet. She already has up to 10 employees.
Alright. So daripada sini, kita akan pilih a few combination. The orange. Some orangey. S98.
Yeah.
Alright. Okay. I love a modern batik touch. So I will come out with all the modern ideas, you know. If you're talking about butterfly, then I'll try to make a modern placement of butterfly. And if I try to do like something, then I start to think a modern floral as well.
Batik is an old Indonesian handicraft. It has also caught on in Malaysia. The Quran says animals must not appear on batik handicraft.
Actually, it depends to individual. I don't say that we don't really like take it animal as our scarf, you know. For me, I'm a bit modern. I can accept anything. And Al-Quran says that we have to avoid like some animals, like pig or dog, that we try to avoid into my batik touch.
The butterfly is an exception for Siti.
Butterfly is not included with all the, you know, the content of the Al-Quran.
Siti has only been wearing the headscarf strictly for 2 years since her children have gotten older to set a good example. However, she wanted to wear a modern design, so she uses batik for herself. Wax is applied to the silk, and afterwards the motifs are painted. Batik has now gained a greater significance in Malaysia.
Batik is one of the heritage of Malaysia, you know. So like our government emphasize most of the bodies, especially government bodies, to wear batik every Thursday. So it's just like to appreciate the Malaysian heritage. Usually men's wearing a normal clothes with some batik touch, and for the ladies they are wearing the whole baju kurung, we call it, and somehow now it's quite modern touch. They can like wearing a baju kurung with the batik hijab as well, the scarf.
A scarf costs the equivalent of between 25 and 100 euros.
Boleh custom tak? Contoh kalau nabung dia tak cukup besar, dan kita buat lagi besar. Kalau nak lagi kecil pun lagi kecil. Saya selalu guna magnet ni. Alright, kita guna magnet juga. Matching. Matching.
Kuala Lumpur has succeeded in becoming a fully industrialized city in a short space of time. Istana Budaya. The architecture of Kuala Lumpur's Opera House is reminiscent to that of Sydney's. However, its dance company is completely Malaysian. Rehearsal for an evening performance. Muhammad Faizul has been dancing here for 10 years. He is permanently employed, along with around 20 other male and female dancers. They're like a family. Tonight it is just the standard routine, but as always, they will give it their best. Making it as a dancer here in Kuala Lumpur and becoming permanently employed is a little like winning the lottery. In 10 years, it has never become boring for him.
Cabaran dia agak besar lah, cabaran dia bila KL, Kuala Lumpur. So a lot of show. So we go anywhere to perform. Like mungkin dalam satu hari ada 2-3 kali show. Kita present depan turis, kita present depan minister, king sometimes. So mencabar.
Preparation for the performance lasts 2 hours alone, with costumes and masks. This is the Malaysian tradition.
Tarian tradisional Malaysia menggambarkan budaya dan cara hidup orang Malaysia. Kalau macam Melayu, budaya orang Melayu. Kalau Cina, budaya orang Cina. Kalau India, orang India. Begitu juga dengan etnik-etnik suku kaum Malaysia. Di situlah gambarnya budaya hidup dari tarian Malaysia.
The dancers come from all 3 Malaysian religious communities. The Muslim women amongst them still wear their headscarves. However, in half an hour, they must take them off for the show.
Mula rasa kekok jugalah. Lama-lama tak mungkin sebab saya dalam pembelajaran saya, mungkin saya dah semakin tua. So, mungkin saya dah proses nak berhenti. So, mungkin nanti saya akan, mungkin saya dah tak menari. So, saya belajar daripada sini untuk pakai tudung ni. Lepas tu nanti kalau show, kita kena ikutlah apa yang diorang suruh.
The dancers do not have a regulated working week. They are always ready for rehearsals and performances. Plenty of discipline is needed in this dance ensemble. Muhammad Faizul has learned to be humble and is grateful to Istana Budaya for being able to live his dream.
Kita lah macam kita ni, generasi kita ni yang perlu kembangkan. Dah banyak genre lain from other country masuk kita punya Malaysia punya culture, so dia dah bercampur. So mungkin orang macam saya inilah yang akan memperkenalkan balik kita punya budaya. So saya rasa untuk saya tak ada masalah pun untuk hidup dalam cara tradisional ni pada zaman ni.
Kuala Lumpur is perhaps one of the few cities in which cultures do not collide but merge into one another. It is the people who make the city so special, and the world can learn a lot from Kuala Lumpur. Muscat, the capital city of Oman, is highly modern while also deeply rooted in the past. Nestled between the mountains and the sea is Madkha, the historical center of Muscat. The square in front of the souq is a popular meeting point. Men wear the traditional Omani clothing, the white robe, the dishdasha, and the kuma, an embroidered cap. In public, most of the women wear a floor-length, cloak-like dress, the abaya, and a headscarf. There has been a women's team at Oman Sale since 2011, specifically requested by the Sultan. This is quite different to other Arab states, where the practicing of sport by women is unusual.
طبعا أنا ما كانت عندي أي علاقة بالبحار الشراعي ولا كان عندي أي معرفة، لكن طبعا والدي كان بحار وكنت أحب إني دائما أروح البحر. طبعا كنا نسكن على البحر، لكن شوي العادات والتقاليد معنا تمنع أن كفتاة تكون في البحر لأنه يكون في صعوبة عليها.
The idea to revive Oman's seafaring tradition comes from the highest authority. The incumbent ruler Sultan Qaboos started the sailing program in 2008 so that his sultanate would become internationally recognized for sporting achievements. Help in building the team comes from experienced sportspeople from abroad.
طبعا في البداية الناس ما متقبلين هالفكرة ان فريق نساء يكون في الابحار الشراعي، فاحنا حابين نوضح للناس ان لا، الابحار الشراعي ان البنات يقدروا يسووا هالشيء، انه ما في شيء اسمه مستحيل. طبعا احنا البنات ما ان نتدرب وحدنا بس، بنات معانا شباب ناخذ منهم خبرة، ناخذ منهم معلومات اكثر لانهم اقدم منا. Just coming 3 2 1 now. Okay.
The women's team has already participated in international competitions. Their furthest journey was to northern Germany for the Kiel Week sailing event. The sport offers young women the chance to develop self-confidence and independence in a country where the traditional notion of a dominant male is still widespread.
Good wind here. Gust.
السيلينج طبعا بالنسبة لي هو حياة ثانية طبعا وغير الحياة اللي احنا نعيشها، لأن لما ننزل سيلينج على طول نحس إن كل الهموم وكل المشاكل، نحس براحة نفسية في الإبحار ونستمتع. كل يوم طبعا نكتشف شيء ثاني وشيء جديد في السيلم، والحمد لله. نتمنى إن شاء الله، نتمنى من جميع الفتيات أن يجربن الإبحار الشراعي عشان يحسن بالشعور اللي احنا نحس فيه الحين.
خلاص هو كنسله.
The 3 female sailors are a symbol of the new modern Muscat. The history of the city stretches back to 2000 BC. Surrounded by mountains, Muscat was regarded as a safe haven. This was particularly recognized by the Portuguese, who conquered Muscat and built many fortresses in the 16th century. However, in time the harbour lost its significance, and Muscat fell into a deep sleep. Sultan Qaboos has governed in the new palace since 1970. He overthrew his conservative father from the throne and set himself an ambitious target: to contentiously lead the entirely underdeveloped country into a new modern era. One of the last halwa manufacturers of Muscat is situated in a narrow lane. The delivery of margarine is anxiously awaited here.
السلام عليكم. كيف حالك عبد الله؟ هذه زبدة؟ كيف حالك؟ كيف بعدك؟ الله يسلمك، الحمد لله عافاك الله. كيف؟ هذه زبدة؟
ايوه زبدة.
هذه عمانية؟
العمانية.
عمانية؟
ايوه.
من النوع الجيد؟
لا
جديد هذا؟
جديد.
جيد؟
أيوة.
هذا كم عدد هذا؟
هذا 1 2 3 4 5 6 7.
7.
أيوة.
المجموع كم كامل؟ كم قابل كامل؟
يعني 20.
20.
ايوه.
Halwa is the traditional dessert of the Omani people. Mohammed bin Zahran is one of the last remaining manufacturers who make halwa the old way. The only difference today is a gas flame which heats the underneath of the copper vat rather than the wooden fire. Mohammed and his assistant cook the halwa in accordance with the age-old family recipe.
من لدن طفولتي والذي سوى الحلوى وانا يومئذ في علم الغيب، ولما وضعتني امي وجدت والدي يصنع الحلوى وانا ورثناهن عن ابائي صدقا ونورثها اذا متنا بنينا. هذا.
Accolades and awards adorn Mohammed's workshop, where the 79-year-old still uses the stirring spoon. Omani halwa is a solid dessert made from sugar, starch and fat, spiced with saffron and steeped in rosewater. Before Western goods came into the country, halwa was the only dessert available.
الحلوى هي أساس التراث العماني القديم 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 أبا عن جد. من أول ما ذكر اسم عمان كانت الحلوى موجودة من ذلك اليوم وإلى يومنا هذا وإلى قيام الساعة.
Constant stirring prevents the halwa mixture from burning. Mohammed has an ingrained instinct in knowing when the mix is ready.
بعدها ربع ساعة بعد ربع ساعة.
Mohammed bin Zahran can remember when almost medieval conditions characterized his home city of Muscat.
أما أنا حفظت السيارات في حفظي أنا، ما ترصد السيارات إلا إلى الحيل، هذا الحيل العوامر، لا أكثر ولا أقل. كانت وبعد الحيل عاد ماشي السيارات الأخرى هناك، إلا على الجمال أو على الحمير. هذا في حفظي أنا في قبل السبعينات. هذا في عهد السلطان سعيد بن تيمور رحمة الله عليه، رحمة الله تعالى تتنزل عليه بكرة وأصيلا. هذا هو حفظه. أما في عهد السلطان قابوس أبقاه الله تعالى ويد بنصر من عنده، الحياة تغيرت والحمد لله.
Nothing has changed in the production of halwa. A wealthy businessman has ordered a large pan for a celebration. He spends 135 rials, around $300. It is tradition to spoil guests with the dessert, and Mohammed makes the best halwa in the whole of Muscat. The boss personally supervises transport of the valuable freight.
هذه الحلوى الآن جهزت وضعت في هذا الإناء إن شاء الله أنها مكان معروف عنه. هذا طلب خاص لناس خاصين، وإن شاء الله يعجب بها إن شاء الله تعالى. وهذا زبون من لدن أمد بعيد ولا يزال يعني متمسك بنا ونحن متمسكين به إن شاء الله. هذا هو.
Previously, it was the mountains that protected Old Muscat from raiders from the outback. Today, however, they act as a barrier to the expansion of the city, and the houses are clustered side by side. Instead, Muscat extends along the sea. Sultan Qaboos, who studied in England, loves prestigious projects. The Royal Opera House, completed in 2011, is equipped with all pageantries imaginable. It attracts even international stars. In the large mosque that bears his name, Sultan Qaboos has also created an architectural monument. Islam is the national religion. However, most Omanis are Ibadis. Peace and tolerance towards people of different faiths categorize this interpretation of Islam. – 6,500 believers find space in the large prayer hall. More than 1,200 lights glow in the 8 tons of heavy crystal chandeliers. Islam and absolute monarchy may not sound progressive at first. However, equality between men and women is legally consolidated in the Constitution of Oman. In Muscat, women take active part in public life. One of them is Huda Al-Latvi. Huda is a businesswoman and is on her way to an appointment in the city. She runs a chain of ice cream shops. A woman at the wheel, something that would be unthinkable in other Arab countries, is quite normal in Muscat.
Here in Oman, it's very easy. And actually, if a woman doesn't drive or a woman doesn't have a license, it's kind of weird. Like, how come you don't have a license? It's like you're not going to school.
Muscat is a city for driving. The greater area stretches along the sea for 60 kilometers. This means large distances separate parts of the city. The heat takes care of the rest. Nobody enjoys walking here.
Muscat, if you could see, it has mountains, it has beaches, it has so many, natural structure. So it wasn't civilized. So many places didn't have the basic services, electricity, water, and they weren't developed. But lately, these all places are developed, and that makes things easier for us. Makes Muscat, even it's big, but it's easy to reach from one place to another.
Huda is a marketing expert and dreams of setting up her own global franchise chain. As a starting point, she owns 5 ice cream shops in Muscat. She checks them regularly to see if everything is running to her satisfaction, and arrives unannounced most of the time. A female boss is still unusual in Muscat.
So, how are the sales today? It's better now. School they finished.
the one nearby, so you have a lot.
As in country, Oman is one of the countries that generally they support women. My advice to all the women, I mean, if you live in such a country and you have some maybe conflicts here and there, some struggle here and there, I mean, you should do whatever you want to do. And alhamdulillah, in Oman, thank God, it's a very nice environment for women to be able to be who they are and raised to do whatever they want to do.
Vanilla, chocolate and strawberry flavors. Ice cream parlors in Muscat are still something special. Customers are often mothers who want to give their children a treat.
strawberry.
فانيليا.
يلا جربي شوفي حلو ولا لا.
In contrast with Huda, most women wear a headscarf in public.
Here in Oman, it's an optional. So that means some places you go, let's say a funeral or a ministry or a place that's full of men. So it's part of respecting the culture. You have to, have it around or put it on. But again, if you go to shopping or different places, whatever, you don't have to have it on. So it's optional in this culture. And in Oman, we have a very open-minded culture that respect the person, woman or men, for whoever they are and what they do.
The next appointment, a university lecture. Huda teaches at a school of economics and finance in Muscat and passes on experience from her business life.
First, who are entrepreneurs?
Before 1970, there were only 3 Quran schools for boys. Since school became compulsory for girls, young women have flooded universities to such an extent that sometimes quotas for men have had to be implemented. Young women are also clearly in the majority in Huda's class. They are the ones who will shape the future of their country.
Control them. Control my fears. And be independent. Okay? If we actually work hard in making a human proper...
After the university lecture, Huda is en route again for her next appointment. Recently, she moved into a new building in an industrial area of Muscat with her company. When everything is ready, the ice cream will be manufactured here. Huda meets with her business partner and husband, Rami.
Hey babe, how are you doing today? How was your lecture?
The laboratory in which new flavors are developed is Rami's domain.
Yeah, to discover new flavors.
Definitely. Let's try something new today.
Strict hygiene rules are in force here. Rami is working meticulously on a new variety, frankincense.
Hey babe. So, this is what we would like to explore. This is recently, if you can smell it, we got this frankincense from Salalah fresh.
A married couple working together. Can it succeed?
It's very difficult, to be honest. Very difficult. Definitely we have some conflicts in certain things, but we try our best not to mix home with the business, and we try to allocate tasks so we don't get this conflict of interest or conflict of power, etc. So yeah, that's what I think. It's a bit difficult, but
Well,
it's...
that's from her side, but I really enjoy it. I can't have enough of her, so I have her at home and the work. How beautiful is that? I love my job. So yeah, I think this is approved for the day.
Yeah. And seriously, we need to meet for the business for this.
Huda and Rami studied abroad and are open-minded. However, Muscat is a city with many different faces. Only around the corner does it seem as though time has stood still. This is also Muscat. Fishing villages, where life peacefully takes its course. Nobody would suspect that this is part of a large city. In Muscat, it is striking that hardly anybody wears Western clothes. The inhabitants, whether modern or conservative, dress traditionally. Omani men never leave home without the kuma, a richly decorated cap. The kuma is part of everyday wear and is available in different colors and designs. Today, they are mostly manufactured by machine. A hand-stitched kuma is something special. In the fishing villages of Muscat, the women maintain this tradition. The caps are mostly presents for sons or the husband. For Nadia, Fatma and Amna, embroidery is a pastime, which requires a lot of patience.
دائما تاخذ 4 أشهر 5 أشهر إذا يعني فيها نقشة شوية 4 أشهر إذا ترسم يمكن 6 7 أشهر كذا تاخذ.
Sometimes the women receive such orders. In these cases, the kuma is naturally more expensive. It is a symbol of status and of adulthood for a man to wear on his head.
الرسمة تقيمة روسة بس إذا فيها بس شيء بسيط بس أرض كانت يعني ما فيها نقشة بس مثل هذا القماش بس والرسم يعني ونخيطه هذا لا عادي يعني وبعدين الرسمات يعتمد يعني إذا كان لون نفس لون واحد القيمة تجي غير إذا لونين مثل هذه نفس الشيء القيمة تجي غير يعني ما نفس السعر تكون.
Just as the caps are part of traditional men's clothing, the women of Muscat also have a special style of clothing. The abaya, the plain black overdress, is only worn in public. Jeans, t-shirts and other garments can be concealed underneath.
ملابس العمانية كل ولاية كل منطقة يعني كل ولاية بلبسها مثلا محافظة مسقط لبس الدشداشة العمانية مثل هذا المصدرة والصروال والوقاية وفي منهم يلبسوا شيلة عمانية.
Before the Sultanate of Oman experienced prosperity through the export of petroleum and gas, daily life was hard for people in the sparse environment of Muscat. Over 2,000 years ago, the Omanis found a way to extract fertile soils from the inhospitable landscape. They began to cultivate dates in these oases. The date palm is the Omani tree of life. 15 fruit per day cover the human requirement for vitamins and minerals. Dates were the most important means of food for a long time. The most valuable commodity in Oman is water. In order to savor every drop, a sophisticated system of water channels is still in use from ancient times. This is how precious water arrives in the villages. Water is so important that it even has its own profession. The water supervisor is responsible for the fair distribution of water, and he is therefore one of the most important men in the village.
من 38 سنة أنا دخلت بالسنة هذه 38 كان واحد اسمه قبلي واحد اسمه سليمان ويحاضر النجوم وبعدين اتفقوا هذا الشياب اللوليين من شان أنا أقسمه بالساعة فهمت الليل وفي النهار علمت هذا.
During the day, the time is defined by the sundial in the village square. Zahir, the water supervisor, tells his son how to interpret this. On the ground, embedded stones divide the day up into quarter hours. This system has worked for over 2,000 years. The position of water supervisor is a little like that of a mayor. He has to determine how much water is allocated to each inhabitant of the village. It is distributed fairly so that all of the fields can be watered. In contrast, the members of the village community participate in maintaining and rehabilitating the water channels.
الحين الوالد هلال شل فلقة. الحين الوقت ماله هو من الحين لغاية الساعة 3 العصر. وطبعا هو بيستفي غيث الفوق، مكان نسميه غيث الفوق.
Through a system of simple locks, the water is led through channels to the fields.
هذا نعمة من الله، وهذا أي واحد محتاج له، الصغير والكبير، والزراعة حتى الهوايش ملحح الماء هذا. وإحنا الحمد لله الله تعالى جعل في الرستاق عندنا ثروة مائية واجد الحمد لله.
Rustak's watering system has been a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 2006. Dates are grown on around 60% of agriculturally used areas in Oman. Plantation owner Hilal must now pollinate his palms by hand in order to produce a good harvest.
ما يهمنا انا متجمصه.
هذه هي حبوب اللقاح، زين نسميها النبات.
صح شيل 11 نتيجه يغسل الصابون.
يقوم الوالد الهلال ان شاء الله بعد شويه بعمليه التنبيت او التلقيح النخيل.
اي والله.
هو خاض خلاص مجموعه من النبات وراح ان شاء الله يقوم بعمليه التلقيح. على راحتك على راحتك.
Hilal is an experienced climber. Secured only by a rope, he climbs the palm, which is at least 10 meters high. At the top, he binds together the pollen bunches of the male plants and the flower heads of the female plants.
النخلة بشكل عام هي تمثل يعني شيء الكثير بالنسبة للعمانيين، فهي مصدر الغذاء ومصدر لكثير من الصناعات الحرفية مثل السعفيات وحتى بعض قطع الأثاث المنزلي، وكذلك صناعة القوارب مثل الشاشة، ونفس الوقت هي إرث للعمانيين بشكل عام.
For Hilal, this means waiting and hoping for a rich harvest. The fortress of Rustak was the seat of government in the 17th century after Muscat had been conquered by the Portuguese. Only in the 18th century did the Omani rulers return it to Muscat. Evenings in the city are meant to be enjoyed. The best way is in an air-conditioned car or to go for a walk on the beach. Evening prayers mark the end of the day. Time for family life. After a long working day, businesswoman Huda Al-Latfi now tackles her son's homework.
Hamoudi. Spelling movie E. Movie. I'm trying to teach my kids to be their own character. All what I do is shape them and guide them to the right way, and most importantly, to be independent, having their own way of sharing their thoughts, making decisions, and believing in themselves. So, I mean, I try, and I hope it works.
Huda and Rami are typical of the new upper middle class in Muscat. Their lifestyle is modern, but nevertheless oriented towards traditional values and standards. Organizing family and career are difficulties that Huda knows only too well, just like mothers in the West.
That's the only time that we meet. It's over the dinner, where it's the main meal. That's why we try to keep it early, around 6:30. And we have family conversation, chit-chat, and talk about the day, and the issues of the day, plans for the future, etc. It's like a break time for us to catch up with each other.
Before the country opened up to the world, many business people felt defeated by the restrictive policies of the old Sultan and left the country. Since then, it has become valuable to do business in Muscat.
Look, there is no perfect city in the world. Every country has its pros and cons, but definitely there is a lot of potential in Oman, and there is a lot of future we can see.
Every home in Muscat is equipped with at least one air conditioning unit. A couple of decades ago, the people lived very differently. The Hajar Mountains separate the coastal region from the outback in a half-moon shape, a stone desert. In the dried-out riverbeds, the wadis, date palms, and abandoned villages. The people were still living in such mud-walled houses in the 1980s. These buildings made from natural building materials were perfectly adapted to the hot climate. Now that new houses with a bath and air conditioning unit are affordable, the old ones have simply been abandoned. Oman is one of the most sparsely populated countries on the planet. Rugged mountains and hostile deserts cover the majority of national territory. It is especially interesting for geologists. Mohammed Al-Kindi and his colleague Aisha Al-Hadri are in the urban area of Muscat. Quite close to the city, there are rock formations which provide the geologists with an insight into geological history.
See the difference between the two, like the dark units in here. This is one of the interesting places in the area because you can see the high rate of deformation within the rocks themselves. So if you look at this outcrop in particular, these rocks were actually horizontal like this. But if you look at the outcrop now, it looks very nicely tilted like this. So what happened in this place was actually some sort of colliding between two mountains, if that's correct to say, and then these layers were just twisted like this. So if you look at the outcrop, they look really amazing.
Mohammed and Aisha want to document the special rock formations in order to prepare teaching material. Thanks to modern technology, they no longer have to climb the mountain themselves. Today, a camera drone takes care of this.
How high it can fly?
Very high. But now you can see how the structure is basically continuing to the other side.
The dried out riverbed between the mountains is easily discernible.
I actually call Oman the paradise of geology. And one of the reasons for that is that because Oman is located on the eastern edge of Arabia, which is basically a plate, a separate plate. And on that plate, you know, it has witnessed over millions of years, hundreds of millions of years, all sorts of tectonics, all sorts of different types of environments and so on. So it really captures, you know, a lot of the processes that have happened on the earth in great detail.
Such a good view of the cross-section through the Earth's layers of rock can only be provided by the Hajar Mountains. What would usually be deep beneath the Earth lies on the surface here. People have resided here in the valley since prehistoric times. These are the foothills of the city of Muscat today. The sea was shallow here millions of years ago. Traces of it can still be found today.
These are called oncolites, which were basically deposited in this layer, which is about, I don't know, 1 to 2 meters thick in overall. And they're very nice to study and to understand also the environment of deposition of these rocks that probably happened here, you know, 50 or 60 million years ago.
Oncolites originate from deposits of algae or seashells, for example. This is evidence that there used to be marine life here.
And then penetrate through these folds, and then they come back to the surface as hot waters.
Yes, exactly. So basically
It is barely imaginable that a tropical sea rippled here once upon a time, instead of this hot, dry moon landscape. Its inhabitants have left further traces behind in the mountains of Muscat.
So just by walking here, you can actually see a lot of different types of fossils here, specifically marine fossils, especially in the rocks that date back to about 50 to 60 million years ago, in a time period we call the tertiary. So what you have here, for instance, is a very nice echinoid, which is still actually living in the shallow seas today. And you can see all the, you know, different sides of it as well. And here, for instance, you have an oyster, a very nice oyster as well. You can see also the different details of the oyster. So this is a very nice, well-preserved oyster here.
Millions of years ago, these living creatures laid the foundations for Oman's wealth today, black gold.
Very generally, you have the fossils, the living organisms in the marine environment. But then when the sediments start to pile up on top of these organisms, when they die, the soft tissues of these bodies, with the depth, the temperature, and the high pressure below the Earth's surface, they start to be converted into oil.
Basic activities,
The mountains and the sea have always determined the lives of people in Muscat. The Gulf of Oman off Muscat is still clean and rich in fish. Abdullah and his son Yusuf live in one of Muscat's fishing villages. Before sunset, they prepare their boat for departure. At daybreak, they go out to sea. However, their haul only begins once their bait has been caught.
كبداية للصيد نبحث عن الجيم اللي هو السردين. بعد ما نحصل على السردين هذا نتجه فيه إلى الجهة اللي نقوم بالصيد فيها. وعندنا حقيقة نحن اللي موجود هي جزيرة الفحل اللي موجود فيها عدة أماكن للصيد، وناخذ الجيم هذا من سواء كان منيتي أو الخيران، حتى بعض الأحيان نتجه للسيفة.
Yusuf and Abdullah look out for young sardines which linger directly beneath the surface of the water. They will use them later as bait in order to attract big fish for their own catch.
طبعا الغل هذا في نهايته يكون مثل برصاص، حدود ما يقارب 8 كيلو الوزن. بعد ما نرميه في البحر بين تقريبا إلى 4 إلى 6 متر يروح داخل البحر، وأحيانا يوصل إلى 10-12 متر حتى يمسك الجيم هذا.
The sardines caught will be stored in a dinghy filled with water. Abdullah learned how to fish from his father. Likewise, he is teaching the same to his son now.
موقع المنطقة على البحر وكذا، وتحصل أكثر الناس حتى لو كانوا مثلا شغالين في الشركات، شغالين في الوزارات كذا، لكن مرجعهم إلى البحر. المرجع هذا الأساسي أو الأصلي إلى مرجعنا إلى البحر، سواء الواحد بعد أو قرب من المنطقة، يعني في النهاية مرجعنا كنا للبحر.
There are 150 types of fish here on the coast. In order to entice the big fish, Abdullah throws the sardines as bait.
والله على حسب، بعض الأحيان يكون السمك متوفر بكثرة، بعض الأحيان ما تحصل سمك، طب أسبوع أسبوعين ما في سمك كذا، يعني كما تقول أرزاق.
بعد عملية البحث هذا نوع من الأسماك اللي تتواجه هنا. طبعا هذه السمكة نحن نسميها حيسميها خروب وحيسميها قرقمة، فسمكة ممتازة جدا للشوي، لأن لحمها نفسه يتميز داخل بالبياض، لحمها جميل جدا يعني.
Abdullah and Yusuf fish directly off the bay of Madra. This is also where many cruise ships drop off their day passengers.
السلطنة أو كالولاية بين مطرح ومسقط تستقطب يعني السياح، لكن فيما بعد لما يكون التطور موجود هذا، وطبعا راح تكون هناك الزيادة، وهذه الزيادة فعلا يعني لما تعمل المنشآت والفنادق وغيرها في الميناء هذه، في نفس الوقت راح يخلق وظائف للناس اللي تبحث عن العمل، فهنا تتم الانفتاحية. هي ليس يعني استقطاب سواح فقط، إنما تكون الافتتاحية للناس اللي تبحث عن عمل، راح تكون لهم فرص عمل أكثر، ونأمل إن شاء الله أن يتم هذا في الوقت القريب إذا أراد الله.
The fishermen sell their catch on the pier in Muscat. It doesn't get any fresher than this. Rich merchants used to live in Madra, when the district was still Muscat's financial center. Trading still takes place here today. The souq, a covered market, allures customers and curious individuals. Dealers offer their goods for sale in small shops. The scent of frankincense is all around. Frankincense was Oman's most important export item in ancient times. Tree resin was burned in ancient Egypt and Rome during ritual proceedings. According to the legend, Emperor Nero burned the whole of Oman's annual production at his wife's funeral.
السلام عليكم. مساء الخير، شو اخبارك؟ طيب، الله يعافيك. الحمد لله، كيف امورك؟ الحمد لله. بغيت كذا البان حلو من عندك. والله هذا البان عادي وهذا المصطفى. هذا بريال؟ هو 3 ريال. هذا كم؟ ريال. وهذا 3 ريال. ممكن تحط من الناس بس صناعي. هذا نوعي. بس أعطيني واحد منهم.
The trees that produce this precious resin only grow in the south of Oman. They are harvested 3 times per year.
اللبان الحوجري هذا أفضل أنواع اللبان، وأنه عندما يكون شكله كما قطرة الماء تكون جودته أفضل، وأن اللبان يستخرجونه من شجرة اللبان، من قطع شجرة اللبان، وطريقة الاستخراج تكون بالطعن، طعن الشجرة، بعدين ينزل منها سائل نفس سائل، وكل بعد فترة كذا يبس السائل من الشجرة وتحصل اللبان على شكل حبات.
Like this customer, men used to perfume their beards with a scent of frankincense.
اللبان والمر كان قيمتهم واحدة، على حسب الوزن كله يعادل قيمة واحدة. وأما الحين بسبب زوايد الطيبة، روائح الطيبة هذه قلت قيمة اللبان.
Whoever is aware of antiques, kitsch or art can find real treasures in the souq. An established feature of Omani men's clothing is the khanjar, which we call a dagger. It is still worn on official occasions. Nadia Al-Rahwi, the silversmith, produces the noble weapons for customers. Just one question. Why is the dagger crooked?
طبعا الخنجر هي تكون منحنية، ما يستوي انها تكون سيدة. ليش؟ لان لما يكون رجل يلبسها يعني وكذا ما يستوي انها يخليها كذا لانه يتعور فيها، فهي ايش تكون؟ لازم تكون من هنا منحنية على اساس انها ايش ما هنا تدخل يعني، وتكون هذا يعني تعبه في الجلسة، فتكون سيدة يعني مسمى يعني منحنية على اساس انها تجي على هنا ويكبس فيها.
The dagger casing is made from leather, which is embroidered with a silver thread. Training as a silversmith is required so that this old craftsmanship does not disappear. Nadia is the master and trains young women in the meantime.
فالحمد لله هذا طبعا لنا يعني شرف ان احنا نستمر على هذه الحرفة، لان هي طبعا هذه موروثات عمانية وتقاليدنا احنا يعني العمانية، خاصة ان الخنقر هو شعار السلطنة ورمز السلطنة. فطبعا يعني شرف لي انك امرأة عمانية يعني اشتغل على هذه صناعة الخناقر الحمد لله والحلي الفضية.
A trader's stall in the souq of Muscat guarantees good business. Mohammed bin Zahran, the halwa master, also has a small shop where he sells his sweet desserts. In his long lifetime, Mohammed has witnessed at first hand the change of his home city of Muscat. He responds diplomatically to the question of whether old or modern times are better.
الحمد لله لكل صرف لكل دهر دولة ورجاله. في عهد السلطان سعيد بن تيمور رحمة الله تعالى عليه، على قد تلك الأيام عشنا عيشة سعيدة إلى أن الله سبحانه وتعالى أتى لنا بمقام السامي السلطان قابوس، وازدهرت عمان به، والحمد لله أصبحنا في نعمة يعني لا تحصى ولا تعد. كانت بالحقيقة ما كانت توجد إنارة، ولكن الأيام مشت ونحمد الله على الماضي وعلى الحاضر.
Muscat, a fascinating city whose inhabitants are proud of tradition whilst remaining open to new things. The Sultanate of Oman is steering its own fate, and the people of Muscat look forward to the future with curiosity and optimism. Casablanca is a city of love, drama, and passion. A city just like the Hollywood film. Casablanca is one of the most famous films in the world, even though not a single scene was shot there. Today, two worlds clash: tradition and globalization. The name Casablanca invokes images of Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman, but the modern reality is completely different. The popular city still benefits from its famous film image from the 1940s, and today is a relaxed Arab metropolis. Naji Mohammed is a stockbroker. He works 60 hours a week. The financial trade in Casablanca has flourished since King Mohammed VI's reign.
Casablanca, c'est ma ville natale, c'est la ville où je me sens bien. Donc il y a le cœur industriel, économique du pays. C'est une ville que j'aime bien. Donc on a tout et voilà.
Every Friday afternoon during his lunch break, Naji crosses the whole city on his scooter.
La globalisation de Casablanca, ça signifie qu'on a plusieurs cultures qui cohabitent ensemble. Je suis très fier de vivre à Casa et d'avoir un esprit ouvert. Je suis très fier d'être comme ça.
Casablanca is a city of white-colored houses. This is where 3.5 million people live. Most of them are Muslims, for whom the Hassan II Mosque plays a key role. Naji's lunch break is quite short, and he has to rush to the mosque so he doesn't miss Friday's prayers. Even though he is an international foreign exchange trader, the Arab tradition is very important to him.
Je ne vois pas de contradiction entre les deux. C'est vrai que la bourse est la notation internationale, qu'il est peut-être lié à l'occidental, mais ça fait partie de mon quotidien et la prière, ils ont fait une priorité aussi. La religion, pour moi, c'est le côté spirituel. Grâce à la religion, il y a, surtout pour moi, la religion musulmane, c'est vraiment un apport quotidien dans la vie pour l'apaisement de soi, pour pas mal de choses qui sont en rapport avec la spiritualité. Donc voilà, et la religion, c'est la paix intérieure aussi, c'est la paix intérieure qu'on ressent.
Praying in the main hall of the mosque is reserved for men only. Every Friday, thousands of men gather in this gigantic structure. From the Arab fishmonger to the international businessman, all come to pray in this central place. For the children, the grounds of the mosque are a bathing paradise, a place of leisure and total relaxation. In Casablanca, the sea has great importance with the local population. The sea represents a gateway to the world, a coast with strong breakwaters and good surfing spots. This gives the Barada family opportunity to do what they love. Since their birth, Fatima Zahra has put her daughters on a surfboard. Whenever they have time, the family of 4 go to the beach with their father, Zino.
Quand tu es en relation avec la nature, avec la mer, surtout quand tu es en contact avec la mer, surtout quand tu surfes de très bonnes conditions, de très jolies vagues, tu es tout le temps épanoui, tu es très heureux, très content et surtout avec notre passion.
Je sens que je suis forte et courageuse. Et après, quand je prends une vague, je sens que je progresse.
En fait, on a le privilège d'être dans une famille qui surfe. Et dans notre école, il y a juste des débutants, c'est tout. Il n'y a pas une famille comme ça.
Morocco, though it may sound surprising, is a popular venue for international surf competitions.
Les vagues au Maroc en général, elles sont très bien. Nous avons de très jolis spots, que ce soit à partir de Tanger jusqu'à La Gouira. On a des spots très connus mondialement. Mais c'est une question de saison. La meilleure saison pour Casablanca, elle débute du mois de septembre jusqu'à début décembre.
Fatima goes in the water every day. She has been preparing for a big surfing competition. It is the first time women in Casablanca are allowed to participate in such competitions.
Maintenant, le Maroc, on a beaucoup plus, les gens, ils ont l'esprit ouvert. Donc, quand ils voient une femme dans l'eau, au contraire, pas mal de gens, ils m'encouragent. Surtout quand je fais de la compétition, tout le monde m'encourage. Et la plupart des Marocains, ils sont fiers d'avoir une femme marocaine qui fait ce sport.
At first glance, women and girls in tight wetsuits are perhaps not in keeping with headscarves and the Muslim traditions. For Fatima, however, this is not a problem.
Ça n'a rien à voir. Je fais ma prière, je suis une femme musulmane, je fais ma prière, je fais mon ramadan et le surf, il ne me gêne pas du tout. C'est... j'ai mon sport, c'est pas on fait la prière, on peut pas faire du surf, ou bien on fait du surf, on peut pas faire la prière.
Tomorrow is the big day. Surfers from all over the world have come to take part in the competition. Fatima will be the only Moroccan woman from Casablanca.
Voilà, pour la compétition de demain, j'espère faire de très bons résultats et pourquoi pas rester en finale, on l'espère. Hein.
Morocco was a French protectorate in the first half of the 20th century and has left its mark on Casablanca. French architects built numerous Art Nouveau buildings which now form the Nouvelle Ville or Centre-Ville. Today, it is still the focal point of urban life, as this is where all of the modern tram lines converge. Not far behind the old city walls is the ancient Medina, a historic old town dating back to the 18th century. Here in the heart of Casablanca, old Moroccan tradition could not be more of a contrast to the rest of the city. Today, the old town still retains its character, with markets and craftsmen plying their trade just as they did hundreds of years ago. This is where Mohammed Mabchour has a workshop, in a cellar. He heats the stove for the hammam next door. The steam bath is for men only.
لاني جيت من البلاد وخدمت هنا في داك الحمام، طلبت الخدمه خدمت في الحمام. جيت باقي صغير ما عرفتش، ما عنديش لا صنعه لا ما قريتش، وهاد الخدمه هي يعني بحال اللي قلتي هي اللي بانت ليا صافي. قريت ما عنديش شي صنعه اللي.
The fire must always be fueled with wood chips. It should not be allowed to go out.
يعني غير كنصور فيها شويه من المصروف ديال الدراري وداكشي، حيت هي اللي فيها يعني هاد الشيء هذا هي اللي فيها الرواج. ولفتها من الصور يعني 30 عام راه ولفت بالاخص هاد البلاصه هادي. ولفت دابا هنا نمشي لكاع شي بلاصه اخرى، اي بلاصه ما نولفش فيه، ما خدمتش فيها كاع، ولفت هنا بزاف.
The wood chips are supplied daily. Mohammed burns 300 kilograms a day. Mohammed sometimes sleeps on the job if he can't find anywhere else to sleep in the city. His real home is in the countryside with his wife and children.
كيفاش بالليل كنعمر على العافيه كنسدوه، حيت العشرة كنسدوه هنايا، كنشعل العافيه كندير فيها نجاره باش الصباح الماء سخون صافي. هذا هو
Everyone can find their own place in Casablanca.
لا هي الدار البيضاء مزيانه في العيش، مزيانه بزاف كاع، يعني تعيش تقدر تاكل غير ب100 ريال بالفانك اللي عندك، حيت هي اقتصاديه مزيانه يعيش فيها المسكين بزاف، هي مزيانه. ودابا يعني كما قلتي دابا انت غادي لقدام مزيانه، المسكين ما يقدرش يعيش فيها الا تبدلت هذا الشيء ديال المدينه، الا ريبو بدلوا هذا الشيء اللي ولا دابا في جهه البحر سميتو مارينا ويدخلوا هنايا، صعيب شويه على المسكين، ما يبقاش يعيش مسكين.
In the old Medina, it seems as if time has stood still. Every afternoon, Mohammed Mabchour goes to the hammam, a kind of heated steam bath where the local men wash themselves and relax. It is busy here all day, from 8 o'clock in the morning. Many customers do not have their own bathroom at home, but the Muslim tradition dictates cleanliness is of the utmost importance.
مهم الحمام اللي ما اي واحد كيعوم في الحمام، اي واحد واخا يكون عنده الدوش في الدار كيعوم في الحمام، الحمام كيعيدو صح. الحمام مهم وصحيا شي واحد مريض بالبروده ولا هادي مزيان ليه يسخن مصاد.
For Mohammed, the second part of his day job is washing and helping others. Casablanca is a city caught between east and west. Everyone is welcome here, whether they wear a headscarf or not. The king advocates a moderate modernization of the country. He is responsible for making Casablanca economically strong and making it the largest city in Morocco. Trade is booming. Traditional craftsmanship has been preserved and tourism flourishes. Although the gap between rich and poor is increasing, nowhere else in Morocco do people benefit as much as they do in Casablanca. More and more women are able to assert themselves in Morocco's male-dominated society and to find their own careers. Samira Belhaj is a singer. She has performed on stage since she was 8 years old. Ziad Mohammed, her producer, believes her talent could make her a star. Today she will record a new song. In the evening, Samira has a live performance at an exclusive hotel restaurant.
Prends votre respiration.
Wow.
Top. Allez, bonne chance.
Merci.
Bonne chance.
Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. بالنسبة لي الميدان الفني ماشي سهل، وبالنسبة للمرأة يعني مغربية عربية مسلمة ماشي سهل، لأن يعني كان الحياة الأسرية ديالي كت كيف كنقولوا كنجي عليها أكثر، لأنه الفن هو حياتي. دونك دائما العائلة الأسرة الزوج الأولاد كيتظلموا، كنحس بهم مظلومين. دونك طريق صعيبة شوية في الميدان الفني.
Ziad has known Samira for many years and thinks she is very talented.
La voix, il a beaucoup les fréquences des aigus, elle est brillante, la voix, elle est spéciale un petit peu, pas comme les voix classiques. C'est une voix qui est polyvalente, ils peuvent chanter classique, moderne, toute la variété arabe. Elle est qualifiée de faire ce qu'elle veut avec sa voix.
بالنسبة لي أنا شخصياً، أنا واحد الإنسانة اللي آمنت بالموهبة ديالي وآمنت بهذا الصوت اللي عطاني الله، يعني الحمد لله. دونك كنكافح من أجلها وكنحاول نقدم من خلالها رسالة للمجتمع الأولاً المغربي ديالي والمجتمع العربي عموماً من خلال الصوت ديالي والأغاني.
In Casablanca, Samira has made lots of appearances, but she wants to be known outside of the city. She wants to become a national star and perform live all over Morocco.
Ici au Maroc, c'est difficile parce que on n'a pas des vraies boîtes de disques, boîtes de production. C'est ça le problème. Comme vous savez, la chanson est une industrie. C'est l'industrie musicale comme dans les États-Unis, dans l'Europe, dans l'Australie, dans les pays développés. C'est un peu les chanteurs et les chanteuses talentueux, ils ont beaucoup de chance de passer à l'étape professionnelle. Ici, c'est un peu difficile, c'est de l'autoproduction.
Casablanca gives you courage. It is an open, cosmopolitan city that attracts artists, fashion designers, and creative people. People say that in Casablanca, anything is possible. Whether rich or poor, In Casa, as it's locally called, there are opportunities for all, and those who don't take advantage will have to live with the consequences. Samira Belhaj does everything to fulfill her dreams and performs everywhere she can to gain a bigger audience.
bien très bien. الجو هذا الجو كلاسيكي شرقي في الأول début de la soirée.
Tonight, the venue is an exclusive hotel restaurant. The acoustics have to be right. Her repertoire is wide-ranging.
Il essaie de satisfaire toute la clientèle du restaurant parce qu'il chante tous les genres de la chanson arabe. Il a la variété arabe. Il chante du libanais, tunisien, algérois, marocain. Il chante les chansons modernes, les chansons classiques. Voilà, les gens ici, ils l'aiment beaucoup parce qu'il fait un effort pour leur satisfaire.
غادي نقول لك نلخص لك الغناء بالنسبه لسميرة في 3 الكلمات اللي هو موهبه من عند الله، كانت هوايه ولات موهبه وهوايه واحتراف. يعني بمختصر هي حياه سميرة. يعني انا فكرت مرارا وتكرارا انني نبعد على الفن وندير مهنه اخرى لكن ما عرفتش.
Early in the morning, the muezzin can be heard throughout the city's districts. The 5 daily prayers are important to most people. The pride of the city is the gigantic mosque of Hassan II, one of the largest mosques in the world. It is the only mosque that has a retractable roof. Only the king is allowed to go through the Porte du Roi, the king's gate. Precious chandeliers, cedar wood carvings, and unique stucco adornments. Here, the French architect Michel Pinceau designed a superlative house of God. At 210 meters, the minaret is the highest in the world. 80,000 people can fit into the forecourt. The magnificent building was built in just 7 years. It was completed in 1993 and cost $500 million. Christians, Jews, and Berbers have all left their mark on the city. Through a long history of change, Casablanca is European in many ways. In the 16th century, the Portuguese occupied the city. and in the 19th century, Spanish traders settled and gave the city its present name, Casablanca, the White House. Finally, the city was occupied by the French at the beginning of the 20th century. Today, the city's identity predominantly reflects this period. The weekend presents a time of leisure for the city's inhabitants. Morocco's only Vespa club, based in Casablanca, has 20 male members. Naji Mohammed, the stockbroker, is a member of this club. His friends at the club are all well-to-do professionals, including the manager of a jewelry store.
C'est un moment de déstress par rapport à une semaine chargée de travail. C'est retrouver des amis. C'est un défouloir. Voilà, donc et ça fait plaisir et c'est une préparation pour le début du travail de la semaine prochaine. C'est très sympa ici, ça permet de défouler, c'est très bien.
At the club, the scooters are repaired, cleaned and spruced up. The guys are amateur engineers and hobbyists who are extremely proud of their bikes.
Voilà, comme celle-là, c'est une Vespa S spéciale.
C'est une sprint. Sprint 50 cc. Donc il y a des Vespa classiques.
Chaque Vespa reflète la personnalité de son détenteur. Donc vous trouverez que chaque modèle a des accessoires propres au propriétaire qui apportent sa touche personnelle. Donc vous ne verrez jamais deux Vespa qui se ressemblent.
J'ai ajouté quelques accessoires, je sais pas, des casquettes, le pare-brise, Protex. Mais ça, c'est des besoins que j'ai aimé. Ça me reflète. Ça reflète ma personnalité. Simple.
C'est dur à expliquer.
Voilà, je suis simple, je suis un petit motard. Un vespaïste.
J'aime la couleur bleue. Donc bleu signifie ciel, mer, la musique gnawa traditionnelle, c'est la musique marocaine traditionnelle.
J'aime beaucoup cet acteur de Denzel Washington. En plus, j'ai aimé beaucoup le film. C'est pour ça que j'ai partagé l'affiche de ce film avec ma Vespa.
Ça, c'est ma Vespa. Là, le club, on a notre logo, donc le logo du club. Donc, club, il n'y a que des passionnés de Casablanca. Chacun a sa profession, son métier. Et on se rencontre, on a un planning annuel et on se voit et on passe des moments ensemble agréables, que ce soit ici à Casablanca, que ce soit ailleurs. Donc voilà, donc c'est notre bijou bonheur.
Their hobby is very time-consuming. Almost all of them have wives and children at home.
On passe beaucoup de temps à réparer la Vespa et nettoyer tout ça. Et notre femme, ils disent que vous passez beaucoup de temps avec la Vespa que nous. C'est pour ça qu'ils sont jaloux.
Il n'y a pas que le temps, il y a même l'argent. On gaspille beaucoup d'argent sur nos Vespa. Et les femmes, ils aiment bien que tu gaspilles beaucoup d'argent sur eux. Tu te dis, parfois tu achètes une pièce plus chère qu'un cadeau à ta femme. Tu vois, tu comprends. C'est ça.
On ramène les enfants avec nous. Hein. C'est très sympa.
Ta femme, elle te voit nettoyer ta Vespa et te caresse comme ça.
Tu caresses ta Vespa tranquillement, gentiment. Elle aime bien qu'il soit, en même temps, elle qui soit caressée.
Ça, c'est la jalousie.
Parfois, on est partagé.
Par exemple, quand tu rentres le soir chez vous à la maison, quand tu dis à ta femme, Tu prépares le dîner? Va chez ta Vespa qui prépare le dîner.
Je prépare le dîner. Et le problème, c'est que nos sorties, ça se coïncide toujours avec le week-end. Et le week-end, c'est parce qu'on travaille toute la semaine. Le week-end, c'est pour les enfants et la femme. Il y a un week-end sur deux, je suis avec ma Vespa et mes amis. Et là, il y a toujours des petits problèmes.
Mais ça passe, ça passe.
Mais ça passe. Tu sais, quand ta femme te trouve heureux et que tu es passionné, tu as envie de là, il te laisse, il te dit voilà, je préfère lui laisser avec sa passion. Moi, je suis heureuse quand lui, il est heureux, tout simplement. Voilà.
Today, the members want to go on a small tour of Casablanca. Nothing big, just a bit of cruising.
Il y a pas mal de clubs à Casablanca. Sauf que l'esprit Vespa, c'est un esprit simple, tranquille. On ne conduit pas à vitesse, c'est-à-dire la vitesse, c'est pas notre souci. C'est juste être classe, bien habillé, sans problème, c'est-à-dire cohabiter avec tout le monde, etc. Donc, et avoir un esprit, un parfait esprit. Donc voilà, c'est le privilège, c'est d'avoir le Vespa et avoir l'esprit Vespa, avec des gens sympathiques.
They go down to the Corniche, the beach promenade in Casablanca, which is a bit like the Côte d'Azur. Today, part of the beach has been sectioned off and closed for a special sports event. Preparations have been going on since early morning. An international surf competition has attracted surfers from around the world to the city. Over several days, the surfers will compete in a knockout championship until only 2 finalists are left to battle it out. Up until now, the surf competition was reserved for male surfers only. They are admired by the Moroccan spectators and seen as celebrities. But this time, women will also be competing. For the first time in Casablanca, Fatima Zahra Berada is still in the running. She is the only Moroccan woman to compete. She has already passed the preliminary rounds. The winner will be the one who puts on the best performance.
Je vais essayer de faire de mon mieux. Déjà, je me suis entraînée pour cette compétition. J'étais déjà en Indonésie pour les entraînements. J'ai fait pas mal d'entraînements ici, dans le sud, à Casablanca, un peu partout. Et je vais essayer de faire de mon mieux pour gagner cette compétition.
Fatima has 20 minutes to show what she is made of. Her family is supporting her.
normal, c'est notre maman et on aimerait la voir dans le podium.
J'aime voir ma mère sur le podium et avoir une belle coupe dans ses mains. Et j'espère, je l'espère de tout mon cœur.
But the conditions are not good for Fatima. The pressure is on, and there is intense media attraction.
Là, elle est située sur un pic de droite, ça va être un peu difficile pour elle parce que la vague est très courte. Pour mieux scorer, j'espère qu'elle va se déplacer un peu à gauche et là, elle peut faire de jolies manœuvres. Ça va être difficile parce qu'il ne reste pas beaucoup de temps.
It will not be the case, unfortunately, as Fatima is knocked out of the competition.
Les conditions c'était un peu difficile avec la marée basse, un peu de houle, les vagues qui fermaient, donc j'avais pas la possibilité de faire les manœuvres. Mais bon, j'espère à la prochaine compétition m'entraîner un peu plus et pourquoi pas avoir un très bon résultat. Et voilà, hein. C'est pas grave la prochaine, Inch'Allah.
The international surf competition, which is open to women, puts Casablanca on the map. Sponsors, media and participants are important for the modern image of an Islamic metropolis such as Casablanca. The competition was eventually won by a French woman, Pauline Adot. Just a few hundred meters away, there is no sign that an international sporting event is taking place. Instead, you can see a fortune teller and an old fortress wall. Life in Casablanca is as diverse as its people. Redwan Kathari did what many can only dream of. Although he only attended school for 5 years, he now has his own business, working as an inventor. He makes and sells various contraptions from scrap material. He's had this gift since he was a young boy.
بالنسبه للصغر ديالي انا كنت ازماتيك ما كيمكنش نخرج مع الدراري في الزنقه. الاب ديالي كان ميكانيك ديال الالات الخياطه، كان عنده غير الدوزان التانسات هما باش كنت كنلعب وكنت دائما كنيماجيني كيفاش الطوموبيل كتخدم، كيفاش الميكرووند كيخدم، كيفاش البازا كتخدم، كنت كنمشي نحل باش نشوف شنو كاين.
Redwan builds machines his customers can afford to buy. If they break, he will repair them. He has bought a small workshop in Casablanca and employs 2 assistants. This allows him to look after his family and earn respect in his neighborhood. His inventions are not going to change the world, but they do the job somehow.
لا ماشين صنعتها لواحد الكليان طلب مني واحد الكونتيتي ديال السلعه معينه، يعني تقريبا 100 كيلو في النهار، خاصه ماكينه موين. هذه كيلوح الفلفله والخيزو والحامض والتوابل بطبيعه الحال باش كيطحنوا كيعطيو واحد لاصوص اللي زوين كيتخلط مع الزيتون في نفس الوقت وكدار به الهريسه المغربيه. هذا هو المهم ديالها.
Redwan is convinced that Casablanca is the right city for him to become even more successful.
البيض ديال الدار البيضاء اكبر ما كنا الناس ديالها اللي خاصين عليها المسؤولين وسيدنا الله ينصرو خاصين على الدار البيضاء لواحد الدرجه كبيره خدامين عليها لانها مازال غتزيد تكبر لان اي واحد في المغرب كيعرف الدار البيضاء بغى يتقدى خصو يجي للدار البيضاء بغى يتنزه خصو يجي للدار البيضاء بغى يشري الالات باش يخدم خصو يجي للدار البيضاء بغى يتعلم خصو يجي للدار البيضاء.
Today is a big day for olive trader Anis. He will receive one of Redwan's ingenious machines. The delivery of an olive press is scheduled for this afternoon. Redwan explains how his machine works, as he is very proud of it.
هاد الآلة هذه كتسهل علينا واحد العمل اللي كنحتاجوه هو تراس ديال الزيتون اللي كنحتاجوه بزاف وهذا العمل كنا كنديروه يدويا وكان كيتطلب لنا وقت كبير وجهد كبير وعمال كثار يعني وإلا بغينا هاد الآلة هذه خصنا نستوردوها من أوروبا وبواحد الثمن اللي هو عالي. لهذا الأخ رضوان طرحت عليه الفكرة وقلت له اشنو الآلة اللي كنحتاج ليها صوب لي يصنعها بواحد الثمن اللي هو فرق كبير اللي في المستطاع ديالنا.
The machine presses olives and removes the stones.
كان أمنيتي أنني نكون مخترع وبحكم الظروف العائليه ما كملتش القرايه ديالي ولكن الموهبه ديالي في اللعب وفي الدوزان ديال الاب ديالي وفي الماتريال ديالو خلاني انني نولي هكا كنبدع الالات ونصنع الالات ونساعد الناس باش يخدموا وفرحان بزاف بهذا الامر هذا.
أنه أي آلة احتاجتيها في أي ميدان أنه ممكن يصنعها. هذا السيد هذا ما كيعرفش المستحيل. يعني آلة بغيتي سيارة جي عنده طلبها ليه وجد ليه الفلوس باش هذا وراه غادي يصاوبها لك يصنعها لك. هذا مخترع مغربي كنفتخروا به.
Many people seek their fortune in Casablanca, and quite a few have amassed wealth and prosperity. The square meter prices equal those of cities like Paris or London, but no one likes to talk about the large slums which lie close by. The magic of Casablanca lies in the tranquility of the city. Its location by the sea gives the city very pure air, a lot of sunshine, and a unique light. Even though there has been a noticeable increase in the wearing of headscarves for women in the city over the past couple of years, most people in the business districts dress in Western style. Casablanca is a springboard into an international world many people dream of. Soraya Mechmoun, a 21-year-old fashion model, is one of them. She models to finance her studies. She is mainly booked for wearing Moroccan kaftan, the symbol of haute couture. She has always dreamed of becoming a model.
Dès que j'avais l'âge de 16 ans, il y avait ma copine qui était mannequin Et je lui ai parlé comme quoi moi aussi je veux devenir un mannequin. Et elle m'a dit ben vas-y, on va faire un défilé ensemble et on va voir.
Toujours deux pièces. Mais là, voilà, mais là, une fois portée,
Soraya is 1.80 meters tall, but she has another huge advantage over the other models at the agency.
La différence, c'est que, on peut dire, la plupart des magazines, pour les shootings et tout, ils cherchent une fille type européenne, genre les yeux verts, des blancs, des tout. La plupart ici au Maroc ont des yeux noirs, des cheveux longs, noirs et tout. Donc c'est différent.
Voilà, كتكون بحال هكا، اللون كيجي بحال هكا، كلها منبته، كلها.
The fashion designer, Sofia Laichi, is happy to work with Soraya. Accessories and headscarves are sometimes also part of the kaftan.
كنديروا التاج للعروسه
كتحطوه فوقها،
كنحطوش فوقها، كندرقوا به الوجه بحال هكا. Je rejoins l'utile à l'agréable. L'ancien caftan marocain qui est très connu maintenant, avec la modernité de la robe, pour avoir les deux. Alors, c'est-à-dire, il y a des choses qu'on peut porter chaque jour, même, comme s'il y a des combis, il y a des jabadors, des gandoura qu'on peut porter tous les jours. Être à la maison, être invité pour un petit verre de thé ou bien café même, on peut porter ça. Et il y a des tenues qui sont faites que pour des grandes fêtes, comme des mariages, des baptêmes, des fiançailles. Ça, c'est une autre catégorie qu'on ne peut pas porter tous les jours. C'est lourd quand même.
Soraya has a shoot 4 to 6 times a month. She is a young woman who has decided not to wear the headscarf.
J'aime pas porter le voile. En fait, je peux le porter si, par exemple, je pars à la mosquée. Bien sûr, je dois le porter. Mais sinon, je le porte pas. Et je suis pas contre les femmes qui portent le voile, mais c'est juste moi, j'aime pas le porter, c'est tout. Ça me pose pas de problème si je le porte, mais j'aime pas le porter.
From one of the most modern districts of the city, she is now traveling to Quartier des Abous for a magazine fashion shoot. Here in the new Medina, with its many narrow streets, you always find the best locations for a fashion shoot in the Arabian Nights style. Casablanca is the #1 fashion city in Morocco, but whoever makes it here normally wants to go further.
Mon rêve, c'est de continuer mes études en Suisse, à la gestion économique. Bien sûr, par rapport au mannequinat, je rêve aussi de faire Victoria's Secret, même si c'est des lingeries, mais bon, c'est un rêve.
Casablanca, a city caught between dreams and hopes.